It's the WOW Show, Women on Women. I'm Shazmin Shamsuddin.
I'm Joanne Kapopo.
And I'm Ning Zura.
And back with us from Pantai Hospital, our favorite OBGYN, Dr. Premitha Damodaran.
Hi, girls.
Hello.
Every time you're here with us, it's an amazing time.
Right.
And we shall continue having that amazing time.
Oh,
Love it, love it.
Of course, being a woman in today's world, it's got its challenges, but it's also got its joys. And you are fortunate and privileged enough to bring women and girls into the world. If you had one, piece of advice for young girls, approaching adulthood, what would that be? It doesn't have to be medical advice. It could be any kind of advice.
Well, I think one of the most important things that I have learned personally, and I continue learning it from all my women, is the fact that every one of us is different. And every one of us has a story to tell. And I think that's absolutely fascinating. I'm always fascinated by my patients because I feel that I learn from them every day. And what I learn, I can pass on to the next person. Every one of us deals with problems differently. Every one of us is going through their own days very differently. Our hormones matter so much. And that's what I would like to pass on to the younger generation. It's great to know about what other women go through, but it's really important to understand yourself and to know that, there will be changes as we get older. Bodily changes, mind will change. It'll explore itself. There will be good days and there will be bad days and there will be PMS and there will be periods. But this is just a normal phase that one would go through, just like going from primary school to secondary school to university. It's just like that. You would go through puberty to the 20s, to probably, if you want to, have a child. And then going on to the mature age. No way am I going to say getting older. It's a mature age.
Mature.
Yes.
Mature.
Age, gracefully and joyfully.
Yes,
Joyfully
joyfully.
I think that's really important. Do not compare yourself to the other person. Enjoy these changes. Tackle it with confidence. And ask the right people the advice, which is very important. So that's what I actually would like to tell the younger generation.
Wait, are you going to write a book about this? I think
Well, I
you
hope so
should.
lah one day.
You
I
should.
hope so.
Yeah, you should start already.
Yes,
Please,
I do.
we all
But
need
will.
to know.
You're mentioning it is the different cycle of being a woman, right? Puberty has always been something which I feel that a lot of girls are a little haphazard. I remember when I was turning puberty, I didn't know
What was happening?
what was happening, and I have a daughter as well, and I remember her mood changes when she started puberty from 12 to 13 and 14. She became a totally different person than how she was when she was in primary. How can we ensure that this stage is
Smooth?
smooth, because
all
for
involved.
all, the mother
Mom
and the
especially.
child,
It's no secret, right?
So that's communication, right? And I
Right.
think being aware, being there for your daughter, it's just like us. We have our bad days, and your daughter or any other family member would know, stay away. Just be there just in case they need you. Or, the same thing applies to your daughter. Trying to explain to her that this is a normal change and there will be those hormone swings.
Yes.
Especially before the period. And those hormone swings can be like 2 weeks before the period. Eating right, getting to sleep on time, and trying to find that balance is actually very important. They are fumbling. They don't know what's happening. But we have gone through it. So being able to guide, but of course sometimes kena marah also lah, get scolded also. And just, knowing that it's normal and taking her through it. Or if it's not you and they feel more comfortable talking to a stranger or to an auntie or a neighbor that they can communicate with. So I think that communication with someone who can listen to them and guide them, I think is very, very important.
So they should write in a diary, perhaps.
If
Whatever
that helps.
works,
I
I
wish.
guess.
It's always a good thing.
Journal.
Yeah, a journal is
Yeah,
good.
I think that's great because
I wish
because
I
when you
knew.
do that, you might
I would
see
try.
that there is a
That's
cycle.
true, then that's the
And
only
when
way
they
you
see
know.
the cycle, then they know, okay, lah, I'm going to come to that time. I better do something about it.
Yeah.
So that's self-education, right?
Yeah.
So they
So
know
you-
what to expect,
correct.
even for
Yeah.
themselves,
Correct.
their
So then they say,
emotions
okay,
and all that.
you know, okay, I'm going to come to that. I don't want to feel like that this month. Let me see what I can do. So then you're educating yourself. You know, so
Okay.
that those little tips is really important.
Yeah.
Is there any medication or perhaps things that we could do naturally to kind of ease us? Because
The
some,
pain.
yeah, no, well, it's not only teenage girls that,
Yeah.
It's all of us.
it's all of us,
It's all of us.
even
Yeah.
as
Let's face it.
adults,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I think it all goes back to, again, lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a lot of lifestyle changes because, you know, just before the period, you feel more hungry.
Oh,
That's when
yes,
the spicy
definitely.
food comes in,
that's
or the
why.
oily food comes in. But actually, it works negatively. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
Okay,
because
so
it
every
makes your
time,
PMS
Yeah.
worse. Yeah. So
Wow.
you tend to eat. You need to eat the lighter, soupy foods. You need to hydrate. Need to exercise because we cannot exercise the whole month. The week before the period, exercise because it just helps move all that gas around and you feel better. Find a hobby that you like doing. So you want to go and watch a movie, or you
Yeah.
want to go and listen to music at that
Yeah.
time. Do that. Go for urut, traditional massage. It makes you feel better.
Okay, that one I
Have
can
the
do.
time out for yourself before the period. Then you're able to cope with these changes much better.
Interesting that you say before the period, do all
Always
this to
before the
ease.
period, because once the period starts, your estrogen levels come in. Then you feel high.
Yeah.
But before the periods, your estrogen levels are dropping, and that's why you feel like that.
Interesting.
So you can guide your girl.
Boleh.
I ada anak
guide-
lelaki. How?
Like the girlfriend.
No lah, I have to ask my husband to guide him. Yeah.
Kan?
Thank you. That's interesting. So what about women out there? And just to change the subject a little bit. Bila dah kahwin, you know, when you're married and blah blah blah, and then they want to have children. You know, in my family, for example, I didn't. Honestly, I never wanted to have a child because I thought, malas lah, you know, and I can borrow, lepas tu we can take it back. But then again, there was this maternal thing that I felt.
Maternal instinct
Yeah.
kicked in.
Actually, it came when I was 30. Lepas tu, it went away. Lepas tu, I kahwin at 32. And then at 37, I felt it again after 5 years being... Yeah, it was just like... It wasn't... It's like a different kind of itch.
Right.
But it's still an age.
Yeah, and I said to my husband, I think it's time for me to, like, really
Yeah.
consider that I want to have a child. So what about women out there? Because nowadays, we're not like our parents, kan?
Betul.
Dulu, they used, okay,
Kahwin
buat janda.
Kahwin
Cepat,
cepat,
you know,
kahwin
anak
muda.
cepat.
We have a choice now because we're
yeah.
independent. You know, what would you suggest to the women who wants to like start family planning? Please. tell
I
us.
think it's great because
Yeah.
I actually think that every child should be a wanted child.
yes.
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 Okay, but we all don't have that luxury, right? And not I can't say that for everybody. First of all, I want to tell you something that the trend is actually changing.
Yeah.
And what I do get from my patients now, and again, might be biased because I
Yeah.
am in an urban population.
Correct.
But I get and recently I'm seeing this trend, which is very interesting,
Okay.
of the 20 to 30-year-olds
Uh-huh.
who may not want to get married
Yeah.
or may want to get married
that.
but don't want to have a child, want to have a dog or a cat because they want unconditional love.
But what about those
Right.
women who want to get pregnant later part?
So, okay, so now we have two versions to
Yes,
it.
yes.
So now here I am as a doctor and
Correct.
here I am as a woman.
Yes.
Okay? So the doctor bit kicks in and I will tell you what the old mothers say
Yeah.
is actually true.
Okay.
So the younger you are, the
Yes.
better the eggs. So the quality is much better. Your chances of having a baby with chromosomal problems is much lesser. Your chances of having any medical problems in pregnancy is much lesser. So clearly, a healthier pregnancy, a better child. I
Betul.
mean, that's the medical part of me that's going to kick in.
The woman
But
part of you.
The woman
Yeah.
part of me would tell you that I want to be stable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to study. I want to be stable because I want to be financially independent before I have a child so that I don't have to struggle with finding the money, having the child, setting up the family, and going from there.
Yep.
So the woman in me will kick in and say, let me wait. Let me get to where I am because I myself personally guilty about this. So let me get to where I am and then have a child. So what's the disadvantage? The disadvantage is the fact that you're older. So then, depending on how old you are, then
Yeah.
can you get pregnant so easily? What's the quality of your eggs at that time? Would you have diabetes, blood pressure? What's your child like? So, and then you need to understand that the older you are, when the child is 20, you are probably late 50s, late
Yes.
60s. So, then you think, is it fair to the child? So there's a lot of those kind of questions that come in. So going into a pregnancy eyes wide open is actually very important, So there's no perfect scenario. Both ways, there is.
Yeah.
It's really tough for a woman to actually think about a
So how
pregnancy.
young were you? When you
I had
your-
mine at 37.
Same lah, same.
Correct.
You? What
Okay.
about you, Joe?
Wait, I have to kira my daughter's age.
You don't need to tell us
Doing
your
the
age.
mental math as well.
I'm like, wait a minute. No, 30 also,
What
30
about
plus.
you, Shaz?
I
30 plus.
was 30 and 32.
So
Yeah.
we see all
You're
of
all
us
in the 30s.
are in
But
our
30
late
is
30s.
still okay, But
30s,
now
yeah.
we are having women who, like,
Just as-
what I mentioned just now,
Yeah.
want to get stable and then have a child.
Mm.
Okay? So that's where all this discussion about egg freezing coming in.
I see.
Where
Okay.
they want to have that option just in case their eggs get older, they want to freeze the younger eggs and keep. And many of my patients actually ask me, and I always say, yeah, go explore. Because you never know what's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years. And if you have the means and you want to think about it, go and do it. Be open about it and think about the future. We all have money in the bank for the future. So if you have your eggs in the bank for the future, why not?
Why not? Right?
So what
Yeah.
happens after you freeze the eggs?
So you freeze the eggs, and then when you want
Mm-hmm.
to use it,
Yeah.
you mix it with the sperm, and
And
then it fertilizes.
take it
and then
out.
you
With
put it back
like
inside.
macam
With
making
your
omelette.
ovaries again.
It's
So
like
you
making
goes back
omelette,
and
Ning.
put it into your. into
No,
your
because we have that. So I'm just thinking. I don't think I'm gonna. It's like it's a different plan altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a balancing act, isn't
Correct.
it?
It is.
And many women do juggle career and family. And how can we maintain a healthy balance between our, professional lives,
Correct.
our personal lives, and, our health and our joys, our happiness?
Okay, I'm going to put an add-on question to that because I'm sure everybody has asked this. Can women
Have it
really have it all?
I would love to say it,
Yeah.
and I think women are marvelous. I think they are such unique individuals
Yeah.
who is always balancing. Every day we wake up and we are thinking how to get through this day because we have got this list in our head
Correct.
of
Multitasking list.
all these things that we have to do. Unfortunately, it works good, but sometimes it can be bad
Betul.
because we are putting that pressure in our head.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that balancing act in many ways can also get us down. And as we get older and our hormones change, then we are not able to multitask as easily as what we could do before.
I always feel if I can't multitask, that I'm letting myself down.
Absolutely, you're
I
not the only
agree,
one
me
because
too
I'm
lah.
also an OCD character.
Kan?
I need to do 100 things in one
all the
day.
time.
But
Yeah.
what I have learned along the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
is sometimes we have to say no.
To the
Sometimes,
OCDness.
no,
Yes.
to the
One
list that
thing-
we have.
Yeah. To people demanding things.
Yes, because when we get better at what we do, people tend to pile on more.
Yeah.
Let's face it. So you get better, they say, oh, this lady can do the job. And this happens to
So it's
everyone.
our fault also lah.
Yes, unfortunately. So sometimes we have to say no, and we have to prioritize for that moment what is needed. Okay? So that moment for that particular day, it might be family.
Yeah.
So prioritize that. The next day might be work. It's so difficult. This juggling act is not easy.
Yeah, no.
Every day is
Not
very
at all.
different.
Focus.
Some days you win, some
Yeah,
days you
you
lose.
lose.
And you know, I think
Yeah.
I look at it this way. If I
Yeah.
if I got 7 days in a week, I get 4 days right now, 4 to 5 days right, okay already.
Yeah.
I have to learn to be like that.
You know, I
Because
all
it
have to
always
learn to
comes
be
with
like that.
also guilt,
Correct.
especially if you're a single mom. I'm a single mom.
Exactly.
I always feel that I don't spend enough time already as it is. Like in my family, when my daughter was growing up, I was considered like the father because I was the breadwinner. So my helper was the mother. So she actually says that. But what's result is she's become ultra independent now. Okay, but that's only my my side of the story. But I'm sure a lot of women out there who are single parents, single
it's
moms.
so tough.
Yeah, you have to do this. You have to be the breadwinner. You have to be the mother,
Let's
father,
not
everything.
forget that that woman not only is bringing in money, is running her family. At that point, you also have aging parents that might come into the scene.
Yeah.
You also have, maybe a spouse who's not well. At the same time, you have children leaving and going overseas.
Correct.
Financial burdens that come in as we get older.
stress.
There's whole load of dynamics that change that woman.
That is
And
true.
she is still trying her very best to cope with all these things. So that's why I find her marvelous
Yeah.
and unique, because she's trying to keep it all together.
So we
But-
pretty much goddess lah.
Yeah, very much.
Dr. Premitha, we mentioned before, women can do anything,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And I feel that because of all this, we are juggling our careers, our children, our husbands, semua kita juggle. Now let's touch about women and mental health. I feel like a lot of women are go-getters. How we then address the need for our minds as well to be healthy?
Well, a lot of it is actually stress. It's handling stress. Looking after ourselves in lifestyle changes. But stress is the most important bit. But sometimes how to avoid stress.
Yeah,
We wake up with stress already. The day you must,
We all wanna
traffic
know
jam lah,
that. How to
timing.
correct,
avoid.
timing.
It's already stressful.
Kereta cannot masuk
Ah,
parking,
correct.
stress.
Somebody
Yes.
don't know how to reverse properly.
Absolutely.
Stress.
The minute we get up to the minute we go to bed,
Yeah.
we are always juggling. It's juggling time,
Multitasking.
juggling work. We're already planning out for the next day. We go to sleep with what are the things that we need
my
to
God.
do
We
tomorrow.
can't help
Yes,
it. Kan?
yes.
We can't help it.
Right?
do that.
Yeah.
So
Me
all
too.
that is very
We all-
stressful. So how do we stop
Yeah,
that?
macam
Yeah.
mana ni?
Take
Do
a
you
break.
have a solution?
So we put on some
You
music.
need
Good.
to take a break. You
We
need to
chill
find your time out. So I'll tell you, for me, it's my early morning, 5:30 to 6. I need my time out. Okay, it can be Netflix lah, romantic drama. It doesn't matter. But you know what? I try not to stress when I get up in the morning. So everybody also must remain quiet around
Correct.
me lah. So if
So you know lah, you know.
They know your
They know,
schedule.
they know.
Yeah.
Leave her, leave her alone in the
Yeah.
mornings, then things work out better towards the end of the day. So I think you need to find that solution in the day. The other thing is that you need to have like-minded friends. You need that support group.
Kan? Girl,
Go
group.
for a holiday with your friends. Go for a holiday on your own.
Healthy.
That personal one, or holiday on your own where you don't have to depend on anybody, let me tell you, is the best thing that you can
It
do.
is. I've
Yeah,
I've
she
learned how
mentioned
to.
this the last time, right?
Where have you been
Yeah.
on your own?
Yeah.
So I went to visit my son in Toronto on my own, and he was busy with college, and I did the whole thing on my own, and I felt great because I can wake up whatever time. I don't have to worry whether everyone's had their
Yeah,
breakfast.
correct.
I can go shopping myself. If I don't want to go shopping, I want
You
to
can do what you want to do,
Exactly.
because if you're in a group as well, like even with girls trip, there's someone
schedule.
someone will do the itinerary.
friends like
If
that.
it's girls, guys tak apa. Guys, you can see
Yeah.
5 guys going. Apa nak buat, Tata? Bangun je lah. Apa nak makan, Tata?
I'm like
Let's
that
go
one.
out.
Yeah, that could
girls
be
different.
very
Girls
stressful.
are
12 o'clock
OCD,
we
you
go
know?
tour.
Yeah, I cannot do those itemized travel lists
Yeah,
anymore.
some
It's
they give
very
you in a
stressful.
booklet.
Yeah, oh my God.
I cannot. Yeah. So we need that. We need
Yeah.
to have that time out. We need
Right.
to not think about a schedule.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
But
lovely?
we do have to
Yeah.
settle whatever that's at home first to
Yeah,
be
that one-
able
that
to
one
have
I
a nice
totally
holiday.
agree lah.
Also,
Kan.
Before you go for
Yeah.
holiday, it's like, oh my God.
yeah, and you need another holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I have to
Yeah.
stress that if you
Yeah.
are experiencing a lot of low mood and real debilitating depression, anxiety, I mean, obviously go see a professional
Oh,
for help.
absolutely. So, that's so important. Sometimes just talking to a neutral person
Yeah.
really helps so much.
Yeah.
And then that person will then, also be able to advise you whether you need more and, need meds and things like that. But sometimes all we need to do is open up our world and our stories to someone else who is non-judgmental.
Stranger.
And that person then sort of rewires your brain and makes you
Right.
think right. And
But
what's the
yeah.
problem? It's great. I think it's great.
Is there a time when we need to seek medical help for hormone solutions and, with all this?
Yes, I think lifestyle changes come in always in the beginning. And if lifestyle changes are not able to cope with whatever that you're doing, then always go and see a doctor and see what else. Because it can be a lot of other hormonal changes. We are assuming that it's just one track and it's this. There might be something going on in your body that you need to sort out. But everything starts with lifestyle changes.
Right.
Okay, so how this is most important because we're women on women, right?
Yeah.
We all want to grow
Yes.
old gracefully, joyfully,
Joyfully.
and enjoy ourselves. So, what would you advise the take lah for
Be
women to like?
happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
That is
That's
the
my theme
hardest
song.
thing to do.
I agree.
You may
I know
think
it's
it's the
so
easiest,
easy
but
for me
it's
to say
so
it.
hard.
It is so easy for
On
me
point.
to say it,
I know.
but it is so difficult. And I think, it's going back to the eating right and exercising and
Finding purpose.
breathing fresh air and cutting down
Watch
stress
comedy.
and having having good friends,
Yeah.
socializing, having a good boss, having a good husband or partner, or even if you don't have anyone else around you, having a good friend you can talk
Yeah.
to. It's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Eating, having correct supplements, which is under doctor's advice. Don't
Yep.
polypharmacy yourself.
Yeah.
Little things that play a very important role.
Well, you've had a very long and successful career as an OBGYN. What's the most valuable lesson that you've gotten from, your experience about women's health that you wish every woman could know?
Well, I'm still learning, I'll tell you, Shaz. Women are still teaching me a whole load of bits here and there. But I'm going to end this by saying this. And I think this is a quote that one of my favorite patients over the years actually told me. And I think, and this was actually passed on to her by her family member. And she said how she wishes that every girl walks tall and has a mind. How she wishes that every woman out there walks with an attitude and every lady has a lot of class. And I think that's what I would wish, and that's what I would like to learn and wish for all my patients.
That's very knowledgeable.
Wonderful. Well, Dr. Premitha, thank you so much. Of course, it's been enlightening as always. Before we go, we'd like to thank our venue sponsor, Ascot Central, a symphony of hospitality, a tapestry of luxury. Well, ladies, it's a wrap. This is
The Wow Show!